Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Duke CT, back with you once again, and it is time for Raw Thoughts. And this show was taped last week, and honestly, there was some good stuff and some mid stuff, and most of that mid stuff was in the ring, other than the women's tag match. So let's get into it. First off, you had Rhea Ripley kicking off the show. And honestly, I do like that because I think that it does show focus that there's something other than the women's division, other than a pointless, heatless 10-women tag. But the negative is like the Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan feud continuing over and over again. And honestly, I like the inclusion of Tiffany Stratton here, and it's nice seeing her there trying to do a whole babyface thing and maybe a little Oppenheimer Barbie thing that they're trying to do, which is, well, okay. But at the end of the day, though, it's still Liv Morgan, it's still Rhea Ripley, and it's still this tired feud that, quite honestly, the Raw Women's World Championship, Women's Championship, has just been, quite honestly, I feel like it's secondary because those people don't want to see Rhea Ripley win the championship. They want to see her beat up Dominic Mysterio. Just have her beat up Dominic Mysterio at this point. Why not? And Liv Morgan should be, well, honestly, just have her lose to somebody else or something. Just have her lose to, I don't know, Io Sky, Jade Cargill, somebody. And I think that would be better than just having, well, this stuff here. Just this long. The storyline has gone way too long, and they need to do a something, hopefully in the coming weeks, to shake things up or just end it. And yeah, by the way, Morgan and Rodriguez came in and they just beat down people. And gosh, honestly, Rodriguez, there were some edits during this and the tag match show. Maybe Rodriguez is not 100% back, but yeah. Her choke slam was not good. Anyway, next up we have probably the best. No, it is the best match of the night. The Raw Women's Tag Championships as Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defend them against Damage Control. And honestly, this was actually good, and it just reminds me of what the women's tag belts could be. Even though there was a bunch of commercials here, but yeah, I liked the both women have some good chemistry. Both women teams have good chemistry with each other, action on point, and it just showed some. And I love the whole pop-up elbow they did with Kairi. Just beautiful stuff. And it comes to the there was a little controversy as Jakara Jackson and Lash Legends come in, and you have bam, just have her Legend. I think was the one with the forearm shot to knock down Io Sky, who picks up the victory for knocks out Io Sky, and Bianca Belair doesn't notice it, and she just comes in, takes picks up the pieces, and helps retain their tag team championships. It was a really good match, and I wish it didn't have many commercials on it. I wish this match had like 10 to 15 minutes commercial fee or a picture-in-picture situation, because I think that would actually help the women's tag division. More tag team matches like that. And here's hoping that they will do like a three-way, something like that, to really build up both Jackson and Legend. Because that SmackDown match, I saw it. I was very disappointed because they had to put in the whole Codyverse. I'm just going to call it the Codyverse 2.0 in there. And the black women just had to suffer for it, which I'm not really surprised at this point. But I just want to be surprised. I want to be surprised I want them to have the ladies of the tag division, both Raw, SmackDown, NXT. In fact, NXT, they're doing much better. I don't know what it is. NXT is so much leagues better with their women's division than the Raw and SmackDown. It's downright criminal. But yeah, they need to do something with it, and they need to do, and hopefully with Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, I hope they start building them up as tag team contenders, build them up, and have them have a really good match. Not 3 or 4 minutes, not the diva length. I want them to have a good 8-10 minute matches and actually do something. And if the guys in the back don't like it, tell them to kick rocks. That's why I feel like that. But anyway, there's also positives, the pre-recorded promos. I love Braun Breaker's promo here, talking about what he's going to do to Jey Uso. Talk about like him, sucking on his family, sucking from his family's legacy while he is, he did this on his own. He didn't need his family's name and everything else. And then, like I said, really good promo. Then you got a sit down with Big Bronson Reed. Agreed that, he was not going to do any physical contact with, hey, you can't do any physical stuff. And it's like an interview thing, which is really good. But then I hate the fact that Priest said, I just want I let y'all do it because all this other stuff, chaos and everything else, because I want y'all, because I believe Raw Superstars should handle it. I'm like, and you know what? It's not working. Your laissez-faire way of handling Raw is not working, and it was coming to bite you in the butt. And at this point, I think Adam Pearce if there's characters, a character development. And maybe Adam Pearce starts to be more a tightening of the reins a bit. And I think that should be leading up to it if they really want to do something like that. Because that'd be interesting. Because then everyone has been talking about how, earlier in the show you had Tiffany and they had the whole thing. She talking about Adam Pearce, like, you know what? Nick Aldis would not let this happen on SmackDown or whatever. And you see he's getting annoyed. They're not going to have a match or whatever, but I think this could lead to a tightening of the reins of this, and I think that could be a good storyline going into it. Like, wow, he's starting to tighten the reins a bit and let SmackDown start to get a little more rowdy a bit. Just, back and forth a bit. Maybe because of the Cody Rhodes and the whole Codyverse thing is starting to break down on SmackDown, while Raw starts to tighten up. And I think that could be a very interesting reversal of fortunes, if you really think that. That'd be very interesting. Next up, we have a pretty much a tag team squash match as Alpha Academy versus the War Raiders. And I love the War Raiders coming back. It's good. But by gosh, Otis, what did they do to you, man? Oh, my Lord, what did they have done to this poor boy? Look what they done to my poor boy. What have they done to him? Look at him, man. This guy was getting cheers and pop. This man was like, they were like, this could have been a big star, and they just dropped. They just didn't drop the ball. They basically, they smashed it. They smashed the ball with Otis. I hate it. I hate the fact they have this, like, the Alpha Academy theme. It's just secondhand. It's a secondhand thing. They've made them secondhand. I hate the fact they made this team a secondhand team and they've forgotten about it and all this other stuff. I hate this. And I really do. And it's just basically, the War Raiders just destroying them, of course. And then the War Raiders are back. Fine. And here's hoping they take the tag belts and do something with them. Man, Otis. That's what it is. I feel like they could do something more. But yeah. I'm just so disappointed with the whole Chad Gable thing. Just disappointing. Then we get to the big promo here. Cody Rhodes and Gunther. They're going back and forth and back and forth. And I really like this. And they've been mentioning both, I think throughout the show, I think they mentioned the Beast. And it looks like WWE is gearing up for Brock Lesnar to come back. I think, this is just my personal opinion, I believe Brock Lesnar will return in the Royal Rumble and get a huge pop because no one cares about what he's like. Because I see it right now. I see it over on X. I do see it sit on a little bit on Threads too, that there are people are hyping up Lesnar's return. They are hyping him up. So I think this is going to be a very nasty bit of work. He's going to return sooner rather than later. This is what's going to happen. So you can just tighten your chin straps up, people. It's going to be a rough ride. So yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to happen probably around the Royal Rumble, if not later. Who knows? But anyway, you have you have Cody Rhodes and Gunther going back and forth. Gunther saying, this is for a second place champion. But yeah, Rhodes says, remind him, you at WrestleMania, you broke, but I beat the most dominant champion in WWE history. So yeah, and you have this stuff here. And I like this. I do like this, and hopefully this feud does happen down the road. I want to see Gunther defeat Cody for that main belt. Not, for the W Championship down the road, but This is fine as a little bit of an extra teaser, even though we had a bit of a teaser during the Royal Rumble in 2022. No, 2023, I believe. Yes. So this is more of a light entree until we get to a big 6-course meal of the feud between Gunther and Cody. And, right. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff here. Talk about, you had Braun Breaker destroying Kofi Kingston, and Kofi got some host spots here, including the SOS, but it wasn't enough. Breaker wins with the ultimate spear, and then after the match, Xavier Woods comes to the save, but yet Breaker came out, just coming to take him down. Then Jey Uso comes in, clears the ring, and then they did the oos and everything else here. But then before that, we had a nice video package of Dragon Lee. I want more of these. I like seeing the Dragon Lee stuff. Do more of these promos. Do more of these type of things of people and wrestlers who are not going to be there. I believe if they do more of these type of promos, it would show that not just people on the show, but also other characters. Get their characterization. Talk about these things. Build these things up with Dragon Lee. Because he did win championships this year. He won the North American title. He did that on the Raw. He did do these things. But he's, maybe, do something like that. He's been, he's right there with the heroes. But hopefully this will, they will have him do something and have him win. But when I look at next week's matches, Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio versus American Alpha. Which, by the way, they had a promo, which is hilarious. I love that too. They've been doing that too. I love them, but yet Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio, they're going to lose to them, and we all know what's going to happen. So that's going to be great. Then we get R-Truth versus The Miz. This wasn't really a match. It was just, you have, Karrion Kross, the Cross Vortex came down, all that's the Final Testament, distracting The Miz after 3 or 4 seconds, and then R-Truth hits the most powerful move in the world of not just sports entertainment, but pro wrestling today, the roll-up. The roll-up, ladies and gentlemen. And 1, 2, 3, he wins, hugs The Miz, does a little skip and jump, and then, bam! They Cross, they said, I give some dap for him, dap to Cross, and then he tells the Authors of Pain to attack, and then, they beat up Truth, drag him back in the ring, and Miz hits a huge skull-crushing finale. And then here it is. It's finally doing something other than the long, pointless feud that is with the New Day. So, yeah. Anyway, after all that, you had Jey Uso, going and opening his locker room door, only find Jimmy waiting on him saying, "You want to talk?" And he just no. Smart. And then you got the Wire 6 bumper is right there. They're building up to that. I think Wire 6 versus the Final Testament. Fine. That'd be really cool. But then later on the show, before the main event, you got Jay taking on, say, hey, Jay say, hey, man, come here. And it says, no. Gallows Race. And it deserves so. This man, and here's the messed up part of the whole Bloodline saga that people seem to forget. Jimmy was the first one to say, hey, if you ain't going to kick him, I'll kick him. In fact, it was Jimmy who was the first one to strike out on his own. Jay was still on the fence. Jay has always been on the fence. And then he had the bravery to him and the Usos. The Usos had to come together and they beat Roman. They pinned him. It was a really good tag match. And then Jimmy gets powerbombed and destroyed by Roman, and he's out. And Jay steps up and he fights this in tribal combat. Everything's going well, and then bam! Jimmy comes out and betrays him, which makes no goddamn sense. Exactly. I'm sorry. That to me that was one of the main issues of that whole thing. Why couldn't it have been someone else? I don't know. Why couldn't it be somebody else? Somebody? Or in fact, don't do it there. Have Solo take him out, and then you won't have Jimmy. But you know what? They wanted to have their match at WrestleMania, and they did. It was terrible. And honestly, I think Jay, that's probably the reason why he's like, you did all this for a match against me at WrestleMania. Screw this. I'm out. Y'all can do it by yourselves. Deuces. And I think Jay has every right to just move on. And then we get to our main event. Rhea Ripley teaming up with Tiffany Stratton, taking on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at Monday at the main event. The crowd is basically tired after like 4 hours. Of course they are. Everyone's exhausted. And then they just, the villains had their, shots against Ripley and Stratton and going back and forth. They're just, just seizing control, isolating, doing all the stuff heel teams do. Ripley was a little bit on the, they had a lot of production edits there. There's some edits and everything else. There was some other stuff there, so it wasn't the word good. So, Rodriguez is not looking like good. But, hey, it's ring rust. So, I think slowly but surely she will be back 100%. So, yeah. And then you have the hot tag. You have the Eradicator take down both Ripley and Stratton. And then Nia Jax, Queen Nia, comes in, knocking people out and just drawing the disqualification. And Ripley and Jax are fighting. Then next, Liv took down, Ripley's leg. So Nia, Ripley's leg. So Nia could just beat the crap out of her and everything else. But then Nia came out and just beat the crap out of Morgan, just beating the crap out of her. Then hit the Annihilator, set up Stratton to cash in the Money in the Bank. But then Dominic Mysterio comes in, saves her, and then the Judgment Day retreated to close out the show. And it's just, it just continues on. And it looks like the match is made in stone. It's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax championship for the beer keg title. And, this, not Ripley, but it's going to be Morgan versus Nia Jax. I don't care. And I hate to say that because I think they're all talented, but their storylines it's muck. I just think that, have Rhea Ripley win the title and have Ripley versus Nia, and I have no problem with that. Naomi versus Liv might be good. Who knows? Anyway, so yeah, Raw was mid, but I did like some things here. The things I did like were Jimmy and Jay, the start of the Bloodline stuff reunion, and he says no. Then you have the Wyatt Six, and they're slowly coming back. Dragon Lee, you have American Alpha, American Made. Yeah, American Made. You have American Made. You got Dragon Lee, and you got Braun Breaker doing these nice promos. And more of these. I like these things, and hopefully they continue on to do this stuff to not just the men but also the ladies as well. Build up the promo, build them up to have these things and characters and everything else, and have them do promos like that. I really do like they should do more of these. Sure, you can have the big bombastic brawls, but I think in the coming weeks, especially going down to the road of Netflix, they need to have like this nice. Okay, you can have the story stuff and narratives, but also you can have also the good matches, but also not, just not have them, handcuffed by all these commercials and everything. Better time management, which I've been saying for so long for Monday Night Raw, and a bit of AEW Dynamite as well. So anyway, that's what I personally believe. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. It's Duke CT. Peace and love. I'll see y'all when I see y'all later.